God expects for good and godly leadership to do some things. One thing he expects leaders to do is to point people to Christ. Another thing he expects people to do is to teach people the truth and to teach people the difference between right and wrong. In Isaiah's day, that's exactly what was not happening. And so the prophet brings an indictment upon the people. And he says in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 13, "For the people turneth not unto him that smiteth them, neither do they seek the Lord of hosts." In other words, the prophet is saying, look, God is trying to get your attention, and you've gone through some difficulties. What you need to do is you need to turn to the Lord as a result of this. But that's not what they were doing. "Therefore the Lord will cut off from Israel head and tail, branch and rush in one day." The ancient and honorable, he is the head. The prophet that teacheth lies, he is the tail. "For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed." And so he uses this illustration, and he says God's going to cut off the head and the tail. Now the head that he's going to cut off, that's the ancient and honorable. Now think about it. The old men, the elders, the guys who have been around, the guys who've got experience, what should they have been doing? They should have been leading the people toward the Lord. But that's not what they were doing. The leaders of this people caused them to err, it says. They were the ones that were leading the people away from the Lord by their bad example and by their bad teaching. Not only that, he says, but the tail, that's the lying prophets. In other words, these men who were supposed to come and say, "Thus saith the Lord," they were telling lies to the people. The prophet that teacheth lies, for the leaders of this people cause them to err. They cause them to go astray from the Lord. And so God was saying, the people that are supposed to be leading are actually leading the people in the wrong direction. Instead of leading back to God, they're leading away from God. Whenever we come to the New Testament, God tells us in several places that he expects for leaders to do these things, lead people toward the Lord and teach people the truth. Paul tells Timothy, he says in chapter 4, verse 12, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers." He tells Timothy in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2, "Preach the word. Be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort, with all longsuffering and doctrine." And so, as a leader, we're supposed to, those who are in positions of a leadership, they're supposed to point people to the Lord and teach people the truth. Peter says the same thing in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 3. He says, "Neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples to the flock." As you and I read God's word and we consider this, I want to encourage you. You're always in a position of leadership for somebody. You've got people who look to you. They need your help and they need a godly example. If you're going to be the head, lead toward the Lord. If you're going to be the tail, tell the truth when you have an opportunity. The prophets of Israel's day, in Isaiah's day, they were lying. And those lies were leading the people away from God rather than to God. So I just want to encourage you today, be careful who you listen to. Just because someone's got a lot of experience doesn't mean that they're leading people in the right direction or telling people the truth. But when they are, well, that's a blessing. And for you and I, when we have the opportunity, let's be good and godly leaders. God bless you. Have a great day.